The story begins with a Yankee-looking boy called Tanaka and a shy glasses girl called Suzuki. A typical tale of opposites that attract, but this one isn't what it seems. Suzuki wasn't a shy glasses kind of girl, but a domineering woman that knew what she wanted, and she wanted Tanaka as her pet. With only a small push, he was under her thumb, and their secret relationship began. Their meeting was both ordinary yet sudden, as Tanaka was chatting with his friend, not noticing that the timid and quiet Suzuki was passing by. Once the pair locked eyes, it was all over. Tanaka went bright red as a shock ran through his body, while Suzuki silently glanced at Tanaka, like a lioness observing her prey. But just like that, the moment was over. Suzuki brushed by Tanaka, who was left red and flustered. His friend instantly questioned if he was okay, while Tanaka was internally asking himself the same thing. That night, Tanaka was sleepless, tossing and turning while thinking about what happened and going red in the face. Meanwhile, Suzuki was also awake, but she was more like a child on Christmas, gleefully thinking about the new dog she had found and was about to get all for herself. Suzuki immediately began to play with her new pet, telling him not to bite. As she did as she pleased, Tanaka could only question why he was letting this happen and why he couldn't fight back against her. As she finished teasing Tanaka, Suzuki told him that he was a good boy, causing him to fall further under her spell. When people were around, Suzuki played the timid, bullied girl well, with onlookers feeling pity for her, but not intervening, while Tanaka would laugh and jeer at Suzuki. However, when they were alone, Tanaka was completely submissive to Suzuki's powerful presence, making the delinquent apologize for anything and everything he did or said to her. Walking together, Suzuki asked if Tanaka did his own piercing. The question caught him off guard and he turned to face her. Suzuki began to ask more questions like if they hurt, but Tanaka couldn't answer them quick enough. Then Suzuki made a shocking statement. She also wants to pierce. Tanaka began to ask if she was getting a piercing herself, but she told him that she wasn't. Grabbing Tanaka by the face, he knew what Suzuki was about to say and went red, while his eyes filled with fear. Then she told him what he already suspected, that she was going to pierce his ears herself. Tanaka still couldn't believe it, but once he saw the safety pin, he knew his fate was sealed. As Tanaka lay on Suzuki's lap, he questioned how he ended up like this, while Suzuki leant over him while wielding the safety pin. Slowly moving her hand, she told him that she'll make the piercing now. Tanaka's mind seemed to be breaking as he couldn't understand why he wasn't resisting. Suzuki told him that since his tragus was untouched, that's where she'll be puncturing. With that realization, Tanaka began to fear the pain from the crude piercing and trembled. Suzuki, feeling Tanaka trembling on her lap, questioned if he was scared. He told her that he wasn't scared of anything, but she saw straight through his lie. Suzuki got close and whispered into his ear that despite the fear being written on his face, she found the look adorable, before suddenly piercing his ear without warning. As Tanaka lay on the ground, blood pooling from the fresh puncture in his ear, he glanced up at Suzuki. She looked down on him, with her cold yet pleased eyes, and told Tanaka one simple thing. Good boy. The next day while hanging out, Tanaka's friends spotted that he got a new piercing and asked about it, with only curiosity driving him to do so. But once the question was asked, it seemed to trigger something within, causing him to recall the event and flush red. As he got all flustered, his friend asked if he was okay, but Tanaka could only curse his own reaction. In the halls, passers-by noticed that Tanaka and Suzuki were together, and believed that he was harassing her and looked down on him and his actions. The onlookers began to hypothesize about what was happening and believed that it was a classic use and blackmail type of situation. In reality, Tanaka was yelling at Suzuki for suddenly asking him to meet up without a real reason, saying that there's a strange rumor going around. But Suzuki cut him off before he could finish. Suzuki grabbed Tanaka by the chin and asked if she can share an embarrassing video of Tanaka. If he doesn't like it, then he just has to be her obedient little pet and do what she says. Showing him the video, Suzuki asks for Tanaka's response. After a moment of silence and a groan, Tanaka gave in to her demands. After a while of doing Suzuki's bidding, Tanaka grabbed onto her and demanded that she stop treating him like a damn dog. However, Suzuki barely moved and didn't say a word. All she did was look right through Tanaka. With that stare, she got him to back down and caused him to blush. Tanaka began to say that he shouldn't have done what he did, but Suzuki reminded him that he has something more important to say to her, right? With his head bowed like a scolded dog, he apologized. Suzuki called Tanaka a good boy, as there's no denying that he is a damn dog. When the Delinquent gang were hanging out, one of the boys announced that with his thorough research, he discovered the sexiest girl in their class. Tanaka laughed and questioned if the other boy liked this girl. Guy ended up telling the others that the girl was Suzuki, the glasses girl. As the boy went on and on about her charms and potential, Tanaka seemed to be surprised to hear this. The other boys began to comment that Suzuki was great, sexy, and she is the prettiest. However, as they looked over to Tanaka to see his opinion, they were surprised to see that he was acting odd. Enraged, Tanaka told the boys that he doesn't appreciate their talk and told them that they are forbidden to look at Suzuki with such lecherous eyes. The boys awkwardly laughed and questioned why Tanaka was mad since he is never usually this way. Then one of them reached a conclusion. Tanaka was actually claiming Suzuki as his own girl, but Tanaka quickly rebuffed that thought. Then Tanaka said something that caught all of them off guard, even himself. Tanaka announced that Suzuki is his master. As they were all confused, Tanaka could only question why he said what he did. Later, while alone with his thoughts, Tanaka's mind was flooded with images of Suzuki calling him cute and adorable, and each thought drove him further and further into Suzuki's control. He recalled one of the first times they met. He was always angry and resistant to her advances and actions. However, Suzuki was persistent and seemed to enjoy how stubborn Tanaka was. Now, Tanaka doesn't fight the head pats, but actually demands more by just staring at her. Suzuki understood him well and questioned why her dog was being such a greedy one. Tanaka then tried to deny that he wanted more and that he wore a greedy expression, but Suzuki just watched silently as he verbally flailed around by himself. Maru, Tanaka's childhood friend, noticed that Tanaka was acting off, being shady and dodging plans. So, to figure out why he was so jittery, Maru secretly followed him. Maru noticed that Tanaka was entering an empty classroom, and to find the truth, Maru peeked in through the gap in the door. Getting a good view, he saw Tanaka with Suzuki, not expecting her to be there. Then he saw Tanaka being dominated by Suzuki, showing a new side that he didn't know. Maru became a changed man after what he saw. Not only did something break within him, but something was also unlocked. Meet the student council president, Taniguchi, who is considered to be the school's prince that causes all the girls to swoon at her feet. She was concerned about Suzuki, the glasses girl, after hearing a rumor that she was a victim of delinquents. As she thought this, she saw Tanaka and Suzuki and hid. She believed that she'd see the classic bullying that's typical of this scenario, and was planning to take Tanaka down by catching him in the act. As she looked around the corner, she saw Tanaka and Suzuki talking about an earring. Suzuki questioned if Tanaka took out the pink earring she had given him, and he coldly asked why it mattered. Suzuki told him that it's important, since it's a mark. As her eyes darkened, Suzuki told Tanaka that the piercing was a mark that Tanaka is her pet. Giving in, Tanaka quickly said that he'd put it back in, causing Suzuki to call him a good boy once again. Taniguchi, who was observing everything, had become a quivering wreck at the sight of such domination, and something within her was awoken. Suzuki approached Tanaka and called him by his first name, Masami Tanaka. Tanaka was surprised that his full name was being used and asked if Suzuki was a cop. Tanaka told Suzuki not to use his full name as he hated the name Masami. Tanaka explained that the name Masami was too girly for him, so he makes everyone call him Tanaka. Suzuki, being her, announced that she'll call him Masami from now on, causing Tanaka to question if she was even listening to him. Suzuki commented about how adorable a flustered Tanaka was, but calling him Masami-chan was fun too. After hearing this, Tanaka got pissed off and called Suzuki you over and over until a silent stalemate fell between them. With a cold, firm voice, Suzuki told Masami-chan that he had to use her name and not you. Pissed off, and being slightly tsundere, Tanaka managed to call Suzuki by her name, thinking to himself that despite her quirks, she's a cute girl. However, Tanaka was taken off guard as Suzuki grabbed his face and pulled him in close. Staring into his eyes at point-blank range, Suzuki told him that she's not happy with just Suzuki. All up in Tanaka's face, Suzuki told him to use her first name and not her last name. She also wanted him to look her in the eye when he says it. Realizing that he has no power in the situation, Tanaka gave in and called Suzuki by her first name, Ryoko. Pleased with her dog following her commands, Suzuki called Masami a good boy. Back at home that night, Suzuki's sister Naomi asked why she's so happy. Suzuki, showing more emotion than usual, excitedly told Naomi that her dog that she was training for a long time finally said her name. Naomi, though, was confused, questioning what dog her sister was talking about, before asking if she was even talking about a dog. One day in school, a different gang of delinquents approached Suzuki and asked where Tanaka was. The delinquents then called Suzuki a loser, questioning why Tanaka was hanging out with her. One delinquent warned what would happen if Tanaka had heard them, which Suzuki used as perfect timing to let them all know that Tanaka was right behind them. With a bestial swiftness, Tanaka began his attack and splattered all the delinquents all over the hall. Suzuki just stood there, unmoving to the chaos around her. Realizing it was going too far, Suzuki told Tanaka that no more was needed to be done and how he's such a good boy for her. Once he heard those words, Tanaka turned back into a puppy. Suzuki, completely unfazed by the violence, confessed that she knew Tanaka would come for her. Tanaka, in full puppy mode, lied and said that he was just passing by, but Suzuki knew better. The student council president greeted everyone and was gushed over by the girls. She thought about how she was gifted in many areas and was a true prince of the student council. Someone commented that they were envious of her, and she admitted that she was perfect, but there was a growing issue within her. Taniguchi, the student council president, was dominated by Suzuki, weak to her advances. While she was collared, Taniguchi was called a naughty girl by Suzuki, causing her to blush and moan. Leaning in close, Suzuki commented how the perfect student council president Taniguchi was now an awkward mess in front of her. As she let out another noise, Taniguchi's name was called once again. Snapping out of her daydream, Taniguchi was being yelled at by the teacher, surprising her. As the class muttered about what might be wrong, Taniguchi questioned why she was having such sensual thoughts about being with a classmate. Maru and Tanaka had been childhood friends for years, and Maru considered Tanaka to be his one and only best friend. Or, so he thought, until Maru saw Tanaka being dominated by Suzuki, which unlocked something within him. Once he saw Tanaka make that face, everything changed, and Maru wanted to see the face that now haunts his waking thoughts. Tanaka then called out to Maru, questioning why he was glaring at him. Realizing what he had done, Maru called himself unfit to be Tanaka's best friend, and asked to be put out of his misery, confusing Tanaka. While hanging out together, Suzuki was looking at her phone for once and commented to herself the number 72. Tanaka, confused why she's on her phone and not buried in a book, asked what she was doing. Suzuki said that it was just pictures of dogs that she's been hoarding. What Tanaka didn't know was that he was the dog in the pictures. Suzuki, trying to make Tanaka jealous, told him that the dog was so cute. Tanaka got more and more jealous, asking why he was here and why she's calling the dog cute when she's called him the cutest. Realizing that Tanaka is right on the edge of exploding with jealousy, Suzuki invited him to see the pictures of the dog. Turning the phone around, Tanaka saw the picture and was stunned to see that it was him. He demanded for the photo to be deleted, but Suzuki outright refused, before saying that it's cute that he's jealous of his own pictures. Suzuki asked if Tanaka was always this feisty, and he responded exactly as you'd expect. Using an old school grand trick, Suzuki told Tanaka that she's only teasing him because she likes him. Tanaka, falling for it like a little kid, blushed like crazy and yelled at her, saying that she was an idiot. In their empty classroom hangout, Suzuki stared at Tanaka while also looking at photos of him, making embarrassing faces. Frustrated by the staring, Tanaka asked what Suzuki was looking at. Smirking to herself, she took pleasure in the knowledge that she was the only one who saw this embarrassing face that Tanaka makes, and she loves it. Walking down the hall, Suzuki overheard the comments, how she's a mystery, how she never smiles, how delinquents target her, a sad, sad tale. If it was true. With a tight smile, Suzuki arrived and called out to her dog, Tanaka. Hearing her call his name, and being just the two of them, Tanaka went bright red, complimenting the pink piercing that Suzuki marked him with. Satisfied, Suzuki commented to herself once again that she's the only one who knows this face, and she'll never give it up.